Hey, what's up, YouTube? It's Pete Thorn coming to you from where am I? Hull, UK. What's happening? I'm on tour. I forget where I am sometimes. What are you guys doing? You guys hear me okay, first of all? There's Ben Coombs. There's Lauren. There's Ryan. There's Stealth Parrot. Got all the regulars. What's up? Good to see you guys. Somebody just sent me the trailer for Cocaine Bear. Have you guys heard of this movie? I hadn't heard of it. The trailer is insane. It's actually a sad story because I guess this movie was based on. For those that don't know what I'm talking about, somebody just sent me this movie trailer. It was based on a true story about a bear that ate a kilo of cocaine that fell out of an airplane or something. And the bear, of course, overdosed and died. But they made a movie about it, and the movie trailer is like the funniest thing I've ever seen in my life. So it's a combination of sad and really funny. How was the show? The show was great. It was really, really, really good actually tonight. Kind of like a newish arena that they built here, and we've never played here. And it was like a smallish arena, like when it's all opened up and stuff, and they've got it configured, it'll hold about 3,500, something like that. So, but it's a nice sounding venue actually, and it's an arena, so it was cool. And I had fun. I had some weird problems right out of the gate with it was very strange. The aura that I've been playing, the Sir Aura, had this resonance that sounded really strange on a B flat chord, almost like a stuck wall was on. So I don't know if that was just an anomaly of the room or maybe the neck's bowing a little bit and it was buzzing a bit. That's what I was thinking. Like maybe it was just because the guitar is the frets are amazing on the guitar, and the neck, I would guess, I was thinking if it's bowed back at all, just a little bit, it's probably buzzing, and then maybe it had a weird kind of like sympathetic kind of resonance or something. So I got to check it out tomorrow. But other than that, everything was great. Everything was cool. Steve says, "Tell us about that guitar." It's really awesome. It's not mine. I'm just borrowing it from the Sir folks. So it's a prototype that they built. They did the run of 100, but they built about probably 4 or 5 before that to kind of try different neck shapes and stuff like that. So it actually has a little fatter neck than the ones that actually came out and were shipped to customers. Yeah, and it sounds really great. It's just very like it stays in tune, and it's a very straight string pull and a little bit less headstock angle, so that really helps with the tuning stability. Like it's a totally different animal when it comes to that compared to any like Les Paul or something. So it's really fun. It's a great guitar. Why don't they make it as a standard model? That's a really good question, and the main reason is because, well, there's a couple different reasons, I think. John's really particular about that particular model and wanting the frets to be perfect and the setup to be perfect, and he did every single one that was made, and that took years, literally, to get them all done. So he's thinking about doing something, I think, eventually, maybe production-wise, but it won't be that guitar. And part of that is because Gibson gets, even though, he's changed the shape, it doesn't have anything like a Gibson headstock. It doesn't, even the bottom bout of it isn't Gibson. He changed that. The controls are in a different order. Like nobody would, in other words, mistake it for a Les Paul, I don't think, but Gibson still gets really litigious with and they're a great big company and stuff. And it's like, do you really want to fight that battle? Because if somebody comes after you, even if you've got a great case and they're not going to win, it's a pain in the butt. It's pretty simple, really, So it's much easier to probably come up with something. Do you remember the guitar Gustafson, I believe? And they did kind of much more of like a telly shape, but it was basically like 59 Les Paul specs, that kind of thing. They're great looking, beautiful guitars. For those that haven't seen them, maybe somebody can look it up and check it out if you're interested and see. But the Gustafsons they were beautiful. They were super highly regarded, and it wasn't Les Paul, and they were never going to get Gibson coming at them or anything, because it looked more like looked just as much like a Telly as it did a Les Paul, really. So, anyways, I think that would be the route they would go. Something that's because why invite the trouble? It just doesn't make sense. Maybe if you're Paul Reed Smith, or if you're if you want to fight that battle or whatever, company that deep pockets and all that, and I don't know, but John's just like, why? Like, it doesn't make sense. So they just made 100 of I think originally, I don't want to get too into this because it's legal stuff and stuff, and I don't want to put stuff out there, but the time when those auras came out, when they were made and stuff, was right around the time I think that Gibson was changing hands. So they were in a whole, with the CEO, and like it was a different time, and now they're in another phase. And he's like, I don't want to, it's just like, why bother? So, anyways, how's the rig working out? Says JJ. Really good, super cool. Yeah, no complaints really. Yeah, I can't, it's all good. The 2 amp thing, I'm digging it. I'm making, by the way, a little rig rundown thing. So, been working on that. It's about right now about 12 minutes long or something like that. I'm gonna keep it that way. I'm gonna keep it kind of on the short side, and just, overview with a few sample kind of tones and stuff like that. I've got so that'll be out in the next couple of days. Just gotta get it edited. How about this? Gluten-free single hop pale ale. Shall we try it? Let's do it. I bought this the other day from my friend Angus. It has a cool little booze store called Malvern Cellars. Mainly sells ciders and Perrys and things like that. And he's a really cool guy. He's in his 70s, and he once he retired, he decided to lives in Malvern. Malvern's a great little town. What's Malvern is Midlands? Is that?
It's near Worcester.
Worcester.
It's kind of like, West England, near Wales.
West England, near Wales. Near Wales. It's really pretty. It's a nice little town. And anyways, Angus has a little place called Malvern Cellars. So if you're looking for like little small batch ciders, very special. I think he does mail order and stuff. He started this little business, and it's a really, really cool little shop for also gin. If you like interesting gins that are infused with, everything from lemon to strawberries to rhubarb to, all kinds of stuff. It's cool. I think he's got an Instagram. Malvern is spelled Malvern if you want to look it up. And I'm sure he'd appreciate it. He's got everything. He's got, Scotch. He's got a lot of English wines in there, British wines. It's really cool. It's an interesting little shop. So I went and got some gluten-free beers from him the other day. Let's give this one a try. Oh, it's delicious. Okay. Let's see. What are you guys talking about in the chat? Have you ever obsessed over the specs of a guitar or felt like you couldn't play it to its maximum potential? You felt like you couldn't play it to its maximum potential. Well, I feel like that about every guitar I pick up, because, we all feel like we're deficient in some way. Like if Mike Landau picked up any of my guitars, he could play them far better than I can play them. So, I think it's just something that we all go through, honestly. So you can't be too hard on yourself. You just got to have fun with the skills that you have and the stuff you have. Great gig in Birmingham. Tones and playing were stellar. Thank you, T-Top. Appreciate that. Thanks to your bus driver, Tim. Oh, that's awesome. Got you on the guest list. Tim's a good guy. He's always taking the piss out, right? Right, Jesse?
Absolutely. Well, I deserve it.
I'm sharing a dressing room with Jesse Smith, fantastic singer, today. That's in the Classic Rock Shoe. How can you make gluten-free beer? You know what? I was talking about that with Angus the other day, and he said, most beer is almost gluten-free. He said after the, process they go through making it has so little in it anyway. but he's basically most of the beer that I believe is technically gluten free these days and classified as gluten free. They'll brew as a regular beer, and then they'll take the gluten out. There's a process to do that. I don't understand how they do that, but they used to make gluten free beer out of sorghum and different stuff that was not, barley and hops or whatever the heck that has gluten in it. But now I think there's a whole different way to go at it, and it's much better now than it was even like 10 years ago. And you can routinely find gluten-free beers that are like Omission's a pretty good one in the States. They make a pale ale and a lager and maybe a pilsner. And basically they brew it like a standard beer and then remove the gluten through some filtering process. This one's really nice, I must say. Delicious. Do I have a tweed champ in my arsenal? I don't. To be honest, I don't have anything tweed in my arsenal. Closest thing I would have to that, and it's not even really super close, I guess, is a Sir Ombre, which is more like a brown deluxe. Love tweed deluxe though. And one of my favorite amps that I ever played was a Victoria double deluxe, so like a double power deluxe tweed deluxe, and it was a 212 and it sounded amazing. It was such a good sounding amp. So yeah. Let's see here. What else you guys talking about? Where's part 2 with Bob Clearmountain? I know. Well, the thing is that, so I have that ready to go. And when we did it, I believe that's when I was at Bob's, and there's this song that he mixed for me when I was making that, sit down with Bob at his studio. And it's a song of mine that he mixed while I was there. And I'm singing on it, and it's a track where it's like a vocal track of mine that you guys have never heard me put out anything like that. So I kind of wanted to coincide the releasing the part 2, which the part 1 came out like 2 years ago or something. So, and I said I was going to put out part 2 like a month later. Well, that never happened. But I need to release this song as the thing in conjunction with the video. So it's just like a bit of a logistical nightmare. So. But I should do it. I've got it on a hard drive, and I've got it, kind of ready to go and stuff like that. And I'll just release this single and just put it out and be like, hey, here's a song with me. I actually recorded it in 2012. So the song was recorded in 2012. I had other stuff isn't that crazy? 10 years ago. And yeah, it's a cool tune. I would love to play it for you. It's just a tune that that I mostly recorded at home. I'm talking to Jesse now as well as you guys sitting over here. But it's a tune that I recorded at home when I used to live in Santa Monica. And I did it basically all myself, like produced it up myself. And then when I was going to interview Bob Clearmountain for my channel, he said, bring over a song to mix so that we can have something to talk about like during the. And so I thought, what have I got? And I thought, I've got that track, and I thought, what if I put some real drums on it and then he can mix, because it just had programmed drums on it. So I sent it to Kurt Biscara, and he played real drums on this track. And I got it back, and it was like, and then I said to my friend Holly Henderson, would you want to sing some background vocals on this? And she said, Holly, and mutual friend, that's Small World stuff. And she said, sure. And so she stacked all these great background vocals on it, like she does. And then I got this track back, and then Clearmountain mixes it, and lo and behold, it turns into like, it sounds really good, I think, and it's like, so it became a whole thing. Had it mastered, and I should really put it out. So anyway, that's that story. Sorry, long-winded answer to where's the part 2 of the Bob Clearmountain thing, but that's really why, is I need to prepare the song to be released. And it's not like it's really sounds kind of like Americana pop tune or something. With me singing, I love the solo on it. Actually, I'm very proud of it, and yeah, I really like it. So I'll put it out one of these days, and then I'll put out that video. I really just need to do it. Yeah. Okay. Let's see. There was another super chat there that I missed. So here's one. You're marking 30 years of playing guitar, Nick, by finally sitting down to learn Van Halen 1 from start to finish. That's a challenge, but that's cool. I applaud you in that. Just wanted to send you a little something and say a huge thanks for your eruption lesson from 14 years ago. Cheers, man. There's still songs on that record I don't know how to play, like um, Ice Cream Man. I don't know the solo to that. I've never really learned it. I kind of learned the weird sort of angular lick once, and I was like, oh, it's actually not as hard as some of the other stuff on that record. Probably the most challenging song on that whole album might be "I'm the One." Just although it's the one I know the best, probably like from front to back, just because I played it so many times. But most challenging to get the swing and all that stuff, you know. But it's a really, really great guitar lesson. So that's cool, man. And thank you for the super chat and good luck with that, Nick. I'm sure you'll nail it. Thanks for the YYZ. Nailed it, says the Lawnmower Tapes. Yeah, YYZ is really fun to play. We've been doing YYZ on this tour. Excuse me, I'm burping. And it's actually a total blast. Hey, did anybody see the, speaking of Rush, did anybody see the Rush mustard that just came out? Because, you know, they've got a Rush beer and they just put out a Rush mustard, and they like on the Rush Instagram, if you go look, Getty's or Alex's Instagram, you can see the little video they did, and those guys are so funny, you know, hilarious. But talking about, you know, how you pair the mustard with the hot dogs and the beer, and it's fantastic. So, anyways, let's see. What else we got here? Thank you for the super chat there, and Magnum SG's here with the super chat. Hey Pete, what pots are in your HSS? Ooh, that's kind of nice. That's better. How about that? The lights there's like some motion detector in there for the lights, and I've only got this. Oh, wow. It looks so much better than I did like 30 seconds ago. That harsh over it. And I've just got this nice soft light. It's fantastic. It was a little, yeah, don't move too much. Exactly. What pots are in your HSS signature strat? For HSS with one master volume and tone, would you use two 500K pots with a resistor for the singles? I believe that is what they do, that they've got the correct wiring for the singles, you know, so that they see 250K when you're on the singles. But when you go to the humbucker, it's 500. There's a way to do that a competent tech could show you. Yeah. And I'm pretty sure that's what they do with my guitar. Marcus says, oh, sorry, Peter Mancuso. Sorry. I hope the tour is going good. Random EVH question: why didn't he team up with Marshall? You know, I don't know that. I've often wondered that myself. So sorry, I don't have a great answer for that. But it was probably discussed. But you know, maybe just the business wasn't favorable. You know, whatever deal they had proposed. I know that there was some development of a Jose amp. They were actually working. There was a prototype. There was something made, you know, that just never ended up coming out. And then I think Ed, around, you know, 89, 90, 91, sometime in there is when he started, you know, because I don't think he ever really loved that Marshall, you know, and so he started trying other stuff when he heard things were coming out. And one of the things he tried was the Soldano, and it was just like blew his mind, you know. If you know that whole story, it's kind of interesting about Mike Soldano, how it was his wife's anniversary, and he gets this call, and it's Eddie Van Halen on the phone, and Eddie says, "I've heard about these amps that you make, and you know, can I come check one out or whatever?" And he's like, "It's like 5 o'clock," and he's like, in his shop on Melrose in Hollywood, and he's like, he's like, it's Eddie Van Halen. He wants to come try my amp, right? It's like, but I'm like, I've got to go out for dinner with my wife. It's our anniversary. And he's like, I'll be there in like 10 minutes, you know, and he lives like up Coldwater, like, and if anybody knows how far it is, kind of far, right? And he literally like arrives in like 11 minutes, you know, because for those that don't know, was a crazy fast driver. So anyway, he showed up and he just grabbed an amp and took off and took it back to the studio. And the next day he's like calling Michael, and this is amazing. Like, you're not getting this back. I have to keep this. So, you know, he was already on the hunt for other stuff. And so there you go. That whole story. But if you haven't heard that story, it's pretty good. And you could probably find it on, you know, if you search for Mike Soldano EBH story or something on YouTube. I'm sure it'll pop up. And I've got a bunch of super chats to get there so I'll do it. Just a sec. Be after I burp because I'm drinking IPA. The 412 is two V30s in the bottom and greenbacks on the top is what you mean, I think, JJ. Are the V30 standard or customized for sure? No, they're just standard V30. My 412 is two V30s in the bottom and two greenbacks on the top. And I like that. Sounds cool. Philip says, Jesse is a total badass singer. That's you.
Thank you very much, man. I appreciate that.
He says, thank you. Come say hi if you want in a minute, but don't get up. He's taking a nap right now.
Because of the light.
Yeah. Let's see here. My knees hurt says, I'm on the phone with my parents. Can we start the stream over? We'll wait for you. We're going to talk about stuff while you're on the phone. Just got on. Have you already gone through the specs on the Aura? The specs on the Aura are basically like, I think it's a 12-inch radius. It's a slight sort of vintage, subtle V, a little bit like a 57 or 58 Les Paul kind of vibe on the neck. It's got a Thornbucker set of, I think it's a Thornbucker plus in the bridge and a regular Thornbucker in the neck. I think that's what John decided to do, but with chrome covers. The one really interesting thing with the control placement is that they're kind of reversed from a Les Paul, so that you've got the bridge volume knob is very close to your pinky, just like it would be on a Strat, and so you can do volume swells and stuff, and so that's really different for a guitar like that. Quite nice. Yeah. Blackstrap Blues is talking about Thin Lizzy Black Rose, working on the lead break at half speed. I haven't tried that one, actually. Should give that a go. I love Thin Lizzy. What mics are you using on the amps? They've got a 609, I think it's called, or a 906, right? EV mic, the kind of the newer version of a 409 on my clean amp, which is a Bella. And then on the dirty amp, I'm actually using an IR out of the Boss TAE. And so it's got a York IR in it. And the IR is of a greenback in a 412 with a 58 on it and some sort of condenser mic. And I can't remember, probably a U47, something like that. Pretty fat 47, I think. And it just sounded good to me. I tried a bunch of the York mic combo kind of blends, and that was the one I liked. So there it is. How long does it take your crew to rig in and rig out? They usually load at about 9 or 10 a.m. and they've generally got everything set up by 2:30 or 3 p.m. Something like that. It's one truck full of gear, like a semi full of gear. You've got a lot of video and lighting to get up and stuff, as well as the band gear. So, how do you avoid the trappings of drug use while on tour? Our tour is pretty PG, honestly. Although I will say they can drink in the UK, right? It's just like it's part of the culture of right. I mean, yeah. It's just part of the UK, But
we binge drink over here.
You binge drink
more than most countries. We're kind of known for drinking to excess for no reason.
Drinking to excess for no reason. Yeah. So that's a thing here, but they've got strong constitution too. Like you'll find that the folks here they generally keep it together. Generally. I might be looking at you.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
I don't know what I'm talking about. It's enough. We won't say anything else about that. But no, generally speaking, but like anywhere, you just have to. When you're, I'm used to being a sideman. I mean, I grew up being a sideman. It's like you just have. It's part of the job to kind of not fall apart. I would say it's kind of like being like Superman Clark Kent, being a sideman. So like when you're off stage, you're Clark Kent. You got to keep it together and be cool. And then when you go on stage, you're supposed to be Superman. Whereas like rock stars get to be Superman all the time. They live in that persona. And it's only when you get on stage that they expect you to go toe to toe and step up with them and be like, when they get off stage, they still get the treatment and stuff because they're the boss, and that's part of it. And you're essentially, it depends on the gig you're on, but you're really you're a cog in the wheel. You're part of the crew, And if you view it like that, and you can just kind of keep your head straight and realize that you can always be replaced, and no matter how good you are, it tends to help keep you on a straight and narrow somewhat, and keep you focused and not out of control. That's some of the probably best advice I can give, is that view it as though it's Superman and Clark Kent. When you're off stage, be Clark Kent along with the rest of the crew. Be part of that team, and don't think that you're poop doesn't stink or whatever. Just keep it together. Having said that, Philip chimes in here with the super chat and the cider and beer fund. Cheers to you and Jesse, who is a stellar singer. You've got fans out there, my friend. That's true, but I know it's not a secret.
I try not to put the light on.
You're going to try not to? Oh, yeah, he's trying not to trigger the motion sensor. Yeah, come over. I think it's in the hallway over there. Yeah, come sit down. You're doing very good. Here he is.
On Mission Impossible, yeah. Hey, everybody.
There's
How
Jesse.
are we?
Jesse Smith.
Thank you, Philip, whoever said that. I appreciate that, man.
Yeah, this dude can sing like crazy. It's true. And great guitar player, too. Yeah.
Oh, man.
Come on.
I wouldn't say I'm a great guitar player, especially playing in this band with these guys.
Well, you play a lot of guitar in the set, though.
Yeah.
You brought your telly and the two Taylors, a 12-string and a 6-string.
I actually have three Taylors because I have one in D standard as well.
Oh, okay.
We do Barracuda toned down on this tour. So I play like the open shapes on the D standard.
That's cool.
Yeah.
So tell these guys about your Zeppelin symphonic, and everything else that you do.
Yeah. So I have a kind of similar show to this, but it's called Led Zeppelin Symphonic, and we go out with an orchestra and play Led Zeppelin music, which is super cool. Mainly play in Europe, like so far. So we've done Greece and we've done France,
like beautiful old venues.
Yeah,
super cool settings, right?
The best one and the first one we did was literally on the side of the Acropolis in Athens, and it was like the most ridiculous gig ever. 2,000 years old,
so cool.
Amphitheater.
Yeah.
With like a 40-piece orchestra doing Kashmir, It's like
so cool.
It's badass.
You can probably see that on YouTube, right?
Yeah, there's clips of it. It was funny. It was still in COVID times. We'd sort of just come back, so they didn't want to have an interval. So They said to me, they were like, "Would you mind?" Because we don't want all the audience to leave, but the orchestra need a quick break. So would you mind doing a tune by yourself? So I ended up playing Thank You by myself in that venue, kind of instead of having an interval. And just remember playing that one song, just me and an acoustic in that venue,
That's really cool.
And it was a real
So
moment.
that's probably on YouTube.
I think it's on YouTube.
If somebody looks for Jesse Smith, Thank You, Acropolis.
Athens, yeah.
Athens,
I guess so.
Pop up,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
Somebody go look for it and see if you can find it. That's cool. That's awesome.
Yeah, man.
But yeah, we do in this set, we do Black Dog with you singing. We do Dream On with you singing. We start off with Baba O'Reilly, and You Kill All that stuff. So it's awesome. And Thunderstruck by AC/DC, which is, if you've never heard this guy sing Thunderstruck, it's pretty mind-blowing.
It's a real fun gig for a singer, this, because it's kind of like the same with Pete. You have to be so varied in the styles that we're playing. And for me, I get a kick out of trying to sound as close as possible to the stuff, or finding where I meet that stuff.
Yeah. So,
to go from Robert Plant to Brian Johnson to Geddy Lee or whatever, it's a lot of different technical things that I have to do vocally. So because
we did Spirit of Radio last year.
Spirit Radio last year. Yeah. So it's a lot of fun.
So great.
Yeah.
There's ESL Super Tips with a super chat. Hey, thank you. Appreciate that. Thank you very much. Thank you. You guys are too kind. What else we got here? Let's see. Rush Mustard, says Peter. Yeah, they've got their new mustard, so go check out that Rush Mustard on their Instagram and stuff. It's pretty cool. I think I already answered this one. Mike's on the amps. It was the I already did that one. It was the 906 from Sennheiser. Sorry, I'm like burping. Is it Sennheiser or EV? Sennheiser. Sennheiser makes the 906. The flat, yeah, it's a Sennheiser mic. That's right. I said EV earlier. I don't know why. Probably because I'm tired.
It's a tiring tour.
Been drinking IPAs. What else we got here? Let's see. See anything good there? Let's see. Being old takes away most of the appeal of trucks. Yeah. Well, that's the other thing is it's like when we think about our heroes, right? That have passed on. Like I think about guys like Entwistle, and I think about Kevin DuBrow from Quiet Riot, right? Or I think about these different folks that were early 50s and just decided it'd be a great idea to go do some cocaine, at 52 or whatever, and then curtains,
Look at Taylor, man. I mean,
right, and he's like not even that old, So, yeah, it's just not wise. So like beyond, it's probably never wise, but it's like beyond 50, like it's bonkers, too.
Totally.
So
all the rock stars I know now, they're all totally clean. Like,
yeah.
I don't know one, do you, that still drinks, who's like in their 70s and still drinks and goes crazy.
Not really.
I can't think of any.
Not to excess. I mean, I know some that like, but they've got to have it together, not to excess, certainly not,
Yeah.
I remember hearing Johnny Marr say a little while ago in an interview, he was like, if a rock star or like a rock musician over 50 that's got a hangover, that's a dead duck. Like, like that's a sitting duck for, like literally that was, and I was like, wow, yeah, that's kind of true. Like you don't last, you just, that kind of abuse on your body, it doesn't, and yeah, you do have an awareness of that. I think the older that you get, and just like, okay, it's time to,
They can afford great wine and stuff, can't they, as well? I remember when I met Iggy, he was literally in a dressing gown with a glass of really posh champagne in his arm around two women.
Uh-huh.
And he was like, hey man, great to meet you. And I was like, okay, that's how he does it,
Right.
It's just like...
right. Oh my God, that's so great. Will we ever see another Tim Pete show? Yeah, that Michael Thompson episode was really special. I had a great time doing that, where he stuck the guitar in my hands that had action like this high and goes, okay, play a solo. Yeah, Michael Thompson is a great studio guitarist. He played on a ton of records in the 90s and stuff. And I went and did an episode I used to do this thing called the Tim and Pete Show with Tim Pierce, who's like a legendary LA session guy and stuff. So we went to Michael Thompson's place. It was like me, Knucklehead, with Michael and Tim, who are two studio legends, And we get there into Michael's crazy studio, and he decides it's a great idea if we all try and take a pass of a solo on like this track that he's working on
this guitar.
And we'll just play his guitar, yeah, and his guitar. And I'd never played, I'd met him, but I hadn't played his guitars. He likes his action, like it's insane. It's like slide action or higher, So he hands me this guitar. I'm like, this is like that bad dream, like. Oh, you're in the studio and you get one take, and whoa, I can barely hold the strings down. It was like literally like that,
Amazing.
But it was kind of cool because it makes you play differently. It makes you play very deliberate and slower, and just sort of a little bit more like, okay, I can barely pull off and hammer on, let alone, so I'm going to play very deliberate and bend a note and hold it and then do something different than I normally. And it was okay. Like I ended up all right on it, and it was like, that was really interesting. And he was a sweet guy, and he's just, he's a legend. But I'd love to do more with Tim one of these days. I think we would do it differently now. We would probably do this, actually. We'd probably live stream it, and it would work better than what we were doing before, which was kind of recording episodes and then editing them, that was the problem, was like trying to get us and maybe a guest together was difficult. Trying to get three people together and schedules aligned, and doing that on a regular basis can be difficult. But yeah, we could do this kind of thing probably much easier. So Well, he plays shows in North America. They've talked about it, and this group has actually been not with this lineup, but to the U.S. at
Right.
least once, I think. Right?
Yeah,
Or-
like 5 years ago or something like that.
Yeah.
I think, before we were involved, but
yeah,
there's definitely talk of it.
there's definitely talk of it. It's just trying to figure out certain logistics and stuff, and with promoters and stuff. So, yeah. What else we got here? Let's see. Brits drink like the asteroid is coming. That's awesome.
It's coming. Yeah, that's true.
A little bit.
We kind of do.
Oh my god.
I think part of it comes. This is what I think anyway. I think it's a lot of post-war generation people. So it's like still got that ration mentality. So it's like we'll finish.
Now's the time.
We'll finish everything on our plate. You know,
Right.
every scrap of food like you will eat, and then if you have like beer, you'll drink all the beer. You know what I mean? It's like just in case we get bombed. You know, I don't know. It's
Right.
like, it's that thing. It's that post-war
Yeah.
sort of working class mentality. I think.
It's an interesting place. It's like I was thinking about it today. Like this town, it's like this town's obviously gone through a little bit of a the rejuvenation process, shall we say, recently, right? Because everybody
City
says
of
it was,
culture.
yeah, everybody says it's pretty rough like 20 years ago, but there's been some money put into it recently, and some businesses. It seems like they're giving loans and stuff and trying to attract businesses and stuff. So there's some nice pubs and places going on, little places to eat and stuff, but there is a lot of like drinking establishments, and it's like it's just sort of part of the culture. It's like sorry, I keep burping and it's not going to stop. So just sort of what's the element of like pub culture, like kind of like the meeting place for the like people go to.
It's just so ingrained in our culture. It was
Yeah.
funny. We were in Leicester the other day, and we walked past a pub. My girlfriend was there, and she's from Finland, and I was like, this pub has been serving beers longer than your country has been a country. It's like literally some of these
Right.
pubs are like 150 years old.
Right.
And
Right.
and people, especially the working classes, would just go and just drink. And that's where they made friends and played pool, and it
Have
was
a
darts.
meal
Well, food was sort of that came later. Actually, you
did it?
never used to be able to eat in a pub.
Oh, really?
And when they started doing food, they figured out they can make loads more money, and that's how they kept afloat.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, but it's
Hmm.
I mean, pub culture is just kind of the playground of the working class, really.
Yeah. It's just simple and kind of a place to hang with your friends. And when it's cold outside, they're warm, and some of them have fireplaces.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like it's a thing.
Yeah, bands on, people play guitar, and it's it's great.
Yeah, it is kind of great. Like I actually really appreciate it. I mean, my family, they had a pub, I believe, way my great grandparents, and it was like I've got these in storage up in Canada, but these cigar boxes that came from the pub.
Amazing.
And it's from literally like a pub just somewhere in London, and they're these brass cigar boxes, and my grandmother was always very like, you don't sell those, you don't ever get rid of those, and it was like my grandfather brought them over from, because my granddad was RAF.
So she didn't say you can't make looks like we're back.
Break in the net. Let us know if everything's working, you guys. Let me see here. I'm gonna go down through the super chats anyway. I think we're back, and I think everything's cool. So looked like it was just burn vocal, amazing. Guitar was okay too. This is Andy Raxicran. Pretty good guitar, dude.
I think he means you. I think he means guitar. I think that's a sarcastic.
He plays guitar
Guitar
too,
was
so I thought
okay.
you meant him. Yeah. No.
This guy's pretty good.
I'm a hack.
He's pretty good.
Vincent, thanks for the super chat. Appreciate that. Thank you. Have you ever lost your place in a song on stage, like every song every night for at least a second? What's that? Oh shit. Oh, okay. Yeah.
I did quite a few live streams during COVID, and some of them were like 4 hours long because I had nothing else to do. So I would just like drink a
just
bottle
stayed
of
on.
red wine and just play songs for like hours and hours.
Right.
And I had a few meltdowns on that. You know, when you're like, someone would request a song, I'd be like, yeah, I know that. And then you get to the middle 8 or something, you're like, I cannot remember this at all. but you're half a bottle of red wine in, you're live streaming, like,
right. What do you
do? You just sink or swim. And like, you know, there was a few moments where I swam. There's a few moments where I sank.
Right.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
When you do a tour like this, though, it's kind of, this is show number 10, I think. It's just in your system by now, isn't it?
Pretty much, but I still forget stuff. Like I made mistakes on Burn tonight, you know, where I was like, what's it? You know, and then it's gone because the song goes by so fast.
Mm.
So it's like, but like very little, you know, just like a chord here and there where you're like, you know, but there's always something. Like I remember my friend Garth, this Canadian guy who I haven't talked to in like 30 years, but I remember him saying, man, and he's a great guitar player. He's like, man, I make some dumb mistake in every song. Every song that I play in a show, there's one little thing that was like, you know, and it might not be something other people might even notice, but you know, where you just didn't intend to do something.
Thing,
you know? I don't know if you guys feel that way or not, but I kind of feel that way. Like where it's pretty rare that I'm like, you know, that kid's accent is epic.
My accent. Thank you. Cheers, Quentin.
It's fantastic. Let's see. Brits drink like the water is still tainted. See, this is fun. It's always fun. My crowd's great, man. It's a good time. Sundays is fun. They always make me laugh. I always learn something on here. People. It's fantastic. Jesse, opinion on Glenn Hughes' California Jam to my ears. Thank you so much for doing Burn. California Jam? Glenn Hughes of the California Jam? Do you remember that? No. Have you seen that? Is that like California Jam 74 or whatever? You're just saying like he was great on it. I'll have to go listen to it as well.
Yeah, Sam, I'd have to go listen to it. But obviously, Glenn Hughes is a badass. I'm singing his part on Burn. And yeah, it's crazy high, especially the screamy stuff that he did. You know, it's like, it's crazy high for any singers among you. It's an A above the normal high A, like A3 or whatever. So it's like, you know, it's like right up there. That's kind of the highest thing I have to do in the whole show, I think.
When we do Burn, you guys sing the harmony so great in the Burn part, you know, the chorus.
Mm-hmm.
It's so great. And so that's you and Rudy and Henry, right?
And Henry,
yeah, all three singers. Just
with that, it's all about the kind of over the top, kind of dramatic, or almost operatic nature of it. It's very vibrato-y.
Right.
So you get that kind of drama of the kind of, a lot of heavy metal and like hard rock is quite camp, you know.
Yeah.
The vocals. It's like the more vibby you can get it, the better. And actually, it's quite hilarious because when you actually break down the tone, it's more like singing classically. It's that kind of tone. But when it's got like guitars can go and it's like, you know, it sounds like rock. You know?
Right.
Whereas something like Plant is way more guttural and throaty.
Yeah.
Right. You know. So yeah, it's fun.
Well, because it's more blues, right?
Sure.
Right.
Yeah.
Rather than the like Purple. Although Purple, I mean, there was an element of blues, but there was certainly the proto neoclassical kind of, right?
100%.
Like the Burn, you know, the whole. Yeah. I mean, it's interesting that tune is so amazing too. I know it was one of Eddie Van Halen's favorite riffs. Burn. It's so cool because it's so similar to Light Up the Sky in some ways. I'm a big Van Halen nut, so I was going to pull it back around to that. Let's see here. I'm going to go down to the bottom of the chat and see. I think I'm all the way at the bottom now. So let's see. What are you guys talking about? Saw you in Harrogate and had so much fun. Harrogate? Don't we go there tomorrow?
We're there tomorrow, James.
You must have seen us last year. I think you probably saw us last year.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're there tomorrow.
Are you
come
coming
out
tomorrow,
again,
bro? Come down.
Yeah, come on out. See us. It's a great old venue.
Yeah.
Super cool venue. It's a beautiful theater. And with substandard dressing rooms, but that's just how it goes.
It's like the Borrowers. Have you seen that movie with like the tiny people? It's like that.
Which Burn do you? What band? It's Deep Purple. Deep Purple song from like around 75 5 or 4 or something like that. Right?
Yeah.
Something.
I actually bought an original copy of it today
on
vinyl for our keyboard player Henry. It was his birthday, and I managed to find an original.
It's Coverdale and Glenn Hughes.
Yeah.
It's interesting because it's like Ian was not in the band for a minute.
Yeah.
Like, how did that happen? Like, I remember what and then he came back.
Yeah.
Right. So it's like, what happened?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know the history of it, but yeah.
I don't know either.
It's killer.
It is killer.
It's so much fun.
Yeah, I met somebody the other day. Who was it? Somebody that said that. Or maybe it was Roger that was talking about that because Coverdale is from where Roger's from, right?
Okay.
This is my tech Roger on this tour, and he said something like he remembers like when they were writing that record, they were like in an apartment. Like,
right.
Because where's Roger from? He's from
Middlesbrough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's where Coverdale's from, I think. And like he like remembers them going up there and like writing that whole record or whatever or something, because it was like right where he lived or something.
It's funny doing all these little provincial towns. There's always like one rock star from these places everywhere we go.
Right, like where we are right now, Mick Ronson, right?
Yeah, Mick Ronson. And
He's
the other
hero
day,
from Hull.
there's like a statue of him here.
Is there?
Yeah.
Really?
There's a Mick Ronson statue, yeah, pretty sure.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
Very interesting. It is. Rock history. We guitarists are masochists. We rehearse something until our fingers bleed. Look at that. I think I show you. Look at that. Look at that. That's gross.
Nice.
But I got something's hanging off my finger right there. That's from playing Burn and Freebird. Yeah. We rehearse something until our fingers bleed, right? So we can relax on stage. Then we use the mental overhead we gain by practicing so much to critique our own performance. Yeah, you're not wrong. I mean, it's like it's really great if you can like get past all this stuff and like not, Paul Davids did a really good video a long time ago about working up some crazy thing that he was trying to play. I can't remember what it was, but he like basically filmed himself every day for like 7 days or something, trying to work towards being able to play this thing. And it was a great video. You can find it on his channel, but I don't know how you would search for that. I'm not sure. But anyways, it was just really cool because you saw his progress where he couldn't do it at the beginning, and then he's doing it, and then he's like almost overdoing it, like trying to play. I don't know if you ever find that, but like you'll play too fast, and you go past it, and then it's like no, back into it, and kind of it's just weird trying to like work up technically difficult things and how you get there and stuff. And then someday you just get it if you work hard enough on it. I'm a firm believer that like you can kind of accomplish anything. Like if you want to be able to play something, you can do it. It's just physically possible. Another human being can do it. So I just think if you work hard enough, you can get there too, But it can be a longer process or a shorter process depending on, so many factors, right? And it's just interesting. I don't know. But yeah, physical things like things like taste and phrasing that are the difficult things to achieve, not the technical. Like the technical you can get there, but it's the intangible. But
I can't remember who it was. It might have been Ralph Fiennes or someone, a brilliant actor the other day. It might have been Alan Rickman, actually, I think. Yeah. I saw this interview and he was talking about like, if you want to be a great actor, you should go out and read books and look at sunsets and all this stuff. Right. And I was like, and I think that is the stuff that you can't teach. That's the stuff you just have to feel and breathe, and that's more about you than the technique. But the technique stuff, of course, and that all the kind of feel and the human element comes from you and your choices that you make.
I think so.
Rather than the technical side of things. Yeah.
And as a singer, this is even more, I think, probably, right? Like, the technique, whatever. Okay. And you can get there and work on your, around the limitations. If you're a baritone, you're trying to sing really high or whatever it is, but you can kind of get there. But then now when you actually get up there on stage, is anybody going to feel anything, even though you can hit the notes and do it with precision? It's like, there's more to it, right?
I think as a singer, you have a responsibility to figure out what you're singing about and then interpret that. And you can feel that differently in certain days. Sometimes I'll be more angry, and kind of angsty on certain things, and other days I'll, the emotions might change, but it's about having an idea in your head because you're kind of a storyteller. So If you don't know what it's about, how are they gonna know? You know.
Right.
And I always say this to people, like the technique when it comes to singing, anyway, it takes away your ego, because if you're going, oh, I'm worried about this note that's coming up. Am I going to be able to hit this note? Then you're making it all about you. You know, but because I know I can hit the note because I've done it 1,000 times, and I learned the technique, and I was taught by a fantastic vocal coach. So I know that whatever happens, unless I'm really sick, like the note's going to come out. So I'm thinking about what you're talking about. How do I want people to feel? How do I want them to interpret this song?
Wow.
So it takes your own ego away from.
That's a good lesson.
Right?
Yeah, I appreciate that from a guitar perspective too. Like thinking about, don't think about like, no, I have to hit this note. Yeah, it's about you. But if you're like, how do I want people to feel when I play this note? That's a really great. I appreciate that. Thank you. Because you know, if you're going for something, you're like, okay, I want, you know, it puts you right in the right headspace to like, you know, give, because, you know, that's like those people paid for their ticket and they want to see a show, you know? And so it's like, okay, how do I want these folks to feel right now? I want them to get their money's worth, you know, I want them to feel something right now. That instantly takes you out of worrying about whether or not you can do it. Of course you can do it, right? You're right, you know? Yeah, it's very cool. Thank you.
Pleasure.
That's very good. I like that a lot. Recommendations for a transparent overdrive pedal. I'm really enjoying my Unobtainium from Crazy Tube Circuits right now. Both the Klon side and the more Dumbly side is just terrific for kind of ampy drive sounds, ampy, Fendery, you know, kind of stuff. The other pedal that I have on my board, burping again. The other,
I'll put him over my shoulder in a minute.
Yeah, I need that. Thank you. The other pedal that I have on my board that is real cool for that is the Duke of Tone. And so anybody that knows the King of Tone, Duke of Tone's like a, you know, Prince Tone, Duke of Tone. They're the small versions, and it's really great for that. So check those out. Yeah. Let's see. Michael Chon, the guitarist, says, "You dumb man. Hope you're having fun over there." I am. We always have fun. Let's see here. What are your biggest influences? Because you're the star of the show.
Oh man, we're all equal. My biggest influences are the Beatles and specifically Paul McCartney, Freddie Mercury, Robert Plant. And yeah, probably those guys.
That's cool.
Yeah. Freddie as a performer, man. I mean,
yeah, Freddie
can't touch him as a front man.
Yeah, he was insane. Yeah. You ever see that Queen, the live 1980 show in Montreal?
Yeah, I had it on DVD when I was a kid, I think. So it's insane.
Yeah, it's insane.
Yeah.
It's so good. That's insane. Just unbelievable. Do you guys use backing tracks or click tracks? Well, we do use clicks because a lot of the show is synced to video. So like the video is happening in time with the music. So many times, believe it or not, what they've gone and done is created clicks that are essentially tempo mapped.
Yeah, so they move like tempo wise. They'll speed up and slow down basically
to the original versions of the songs.
For example, when we play Hotel California, there's nothing on the track, but it's clicked to the original so that it's in perfect sync with what the
live Eagles,
the live Eagles on the video. Yeah, who obviously did not have a click. Yeah. So yeah, you have to learn the push and pull of that.
Yeah, so that's a thing. Let's see here. Anybody know how to isolate tracks from CDs? There's all kinds of software now. Actually, I just got an NFR from a company that lets you isolate things. There's apps that do this now. You should just Google search it, but you can find things. I mean, I've tried things and I've seen other people use things where you can literally like isolate vocals and isolate guitar and isolate drums and stuff, and it somehow splits the parts out. I don't know how they work, but there's crazy apps that you can get. So yeah, that there is. To learn music, I use a thing called Transcribe from a company called Seventh String. It's $49 and it's an amazing app, and it does do some isolation and stuff like that. But I think there's even more sophisticated versions now. The thing I use is more of a phrase trainer where you can load an MP3 or WAV, and then you can loop sections and you can EQ and pull all the bass out and stuff like that. And then it's got a karaoke mode where you can pull the vocal out and just hear the guitars very well, you know. But there's, like I say, I've seen some apps now where it's like you can literally like somehow it pulls instruments out. Like, how does that work? Like, it just isolates all the frequencies the drums are at or something, and literally it's incredible. So yeah, so there's apps for iPhone and stuff that do that. Yeah, I'd love to yell Freebird at a show and see the band actually play it. You should come to see us play.
You should come see us play. Bro.
Whether or not you want that to happen, it's going to happen.
Yeah. Do you know what though? It works. It just works.
Freebird?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Every time. It just works. When after that second chorus, when the solo kicks in, the whole audience stands up.
I can play the solo to Freebird now. Like probably in my sleep. Like if not in my sleep, like I can play it like well. I can have a full conversation while I'm doing it about other stuff.
Yeah. Well, you're doing that. I'm playing G, B flat, and C for like the whole time.
Oh my God, I'm so sorry. Yeah, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. But I'm doing that while you're singing.
That's
so,
true.
Yeah. So, oh my God. All right. How long have we been on for? We've been on for about, almost an hour now. That's good. I'll probably go relatively soon, you guys, because we're gonna get on the bus. It's late here. It's like
they'll probably kick us out the venue soon.
I don't actually think they are. I asked about that, but it's 12:25 here. So yeah, pretty soon we should probably go out there. But I'm enjoying this. Thanks for joining me on this. This was totally we didn't plan this. You know, we just happened to have the same dressing room. And let's see. How both you gentlemen stay focused on long-term goals, building YouTube, being a successful musician, anything like that? That's a great question. I mean, it's hard sometimes, you know, because I think sometimes when I'm out here, I let the channel slide. Like, honestly, you know, it's hard to keep up on editing and stuff because you're on a bus and then you're, you know, weird sleep and you might sleep in, then you get up and I got lots of time. I can probably get to editing a video or something. But before you know it, it's like time to go to sound check. And then like, I got to source dinner like pretty quick here. And then like you're at the show all of a sudden, the day went, you know, it's weird. It's like,
yeah, it's trying to be consistent. I mean, in this environment, it's so kind of all encompassing, isn't it? It's like the tour kind of takes over your life.
It does.
So I don't know whether you mean specifically about kind of when we're on the road and stuff. But I have to say, I mean, Pete's doing this right now, right? So it's about showing up and just being consistent.
That's true.
You know, I respect that so much about Pete because, you know, he's always doing it. Like we shared a dressing room the other day and he was editing the video for his rig rundown that you guys will see soon. You know, so I guess it's just about showing up. And
it's just about showing up.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's also about scheduling and going. The thing about this tour is that it was always January, February. Now it's going into March this year, but this was always January, February. So it's like if you can get your head around, okay, January, February is going to be about that. And then what am I doing for the rest of the year, right? Because you've got stuff going on and you've got Canadian dates and stuff with Led Zeppelin symphonic group that you do and stuff. And so it's like, you know, you've got your plans for the rest of the year. And I've got other irons in the fire and stuff like that too. So it's like, you know, it's like you just start to go, all right, here's what's going on here. And it's about, you know, making sure that you got enough work and dough coming in to pay the bills and stuff like that and schedule throughout the year. And that's just kind of being a freelancer, I guess, you know, right? Just,
yeah, for sure.
You know, is there a good EVM 12L out there? You know, that's a great question. I'm going to do a test relatively. I mean, we've been talking about doing this forever, but when I get back, Dave Friedman's got some of the Zach Wild ones, and he thinks that's probably the closest thing to a real EVM 12L. So check out that version of it. But we're going to load them in a cabinet and compare them to Celestions and stuff, because I'm actually very interested in that speaker and I don't know enough about it. So, you know, we'll see more on that later, but check for now. Check out the Zaka version of it. Do you take your Jamino on tour? I haven't, but I would. It would actually probably really work well for what I'm doing out here right now. But actually, the funny thing is the SL68 that I'm using is just so sort of perfect, and the Jamino might be, with its extra gain stage in front and stuff, might be a little like it'll be a little bit more of a one-trick pony than the SL68. Which the thing about a plexi is that from 6 to 8 on the volume is an amazing range of gain that I've come to realize. Depending on the guitar you're playing and the pickups and where your volume knob is and stuff like that, there's so much range in there. So as soon as you stick another gain stage in a Marshall style amp in front of that plexi circuit, it'll tend to homogenize that wide range of gain a little bit. So I'm really just kind of enjoying using the SL on this tour, although they're a little more finicky. Plexi is a little more finicky than a high gain, kind of more modern, cascaded gain amp. Let's see. I'm pretty far back in the chat now, so I'm going to head down to the bottom here. Ben says, this is my faithful moderator, Ben Coombs. Just a reminder, I'm live after Pete with guest Simon Hosford. So there you go. Check out Ben's show afterwards. And any good fish and chips on this tour? There's only one fish and chips place that I go on tour because I'm a gluten-free guy. So it's a pain in the ass. So there's a place in Eastbourne that does gluten-free fish and chips.
Are we going there this year?
Yeah.
Okay.
And we have a day off there.
Okay.
So
I'll time to recover.
Yeah.
It's heavy fish and chips, guys. If you haven't had proper English fish and chips, like, you wouldn't want it before a show.
Yeah. I do it early in the day before show. I'll do it for lunch. Yeah.
Okay.
I will.
I have fish and chips like once or twice a year because I just like feel
fried.
like
Yeah.
afterwards.
Deep
It's good though.
fryer.
It's good. We're not known for our cuisine, us Brits. We're good at lots of things, but not cuisine. Although we do have kind of the best of everywhere,
The best Indian food outside of India.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
we always
London, Italian and Japanese and kind of everything.
Sure.
So.
Cosmopolitan city like that. But
yeah,
the Indian food, pretty much anywhere here, you can find an amazing Indian restaurant. It's so great. So that's kind of what we tend to do, which is such comfort food. And we do that on days off a lot. We'll go for a great curry. It's fantastic. Yeah. Thoughts on Hull? I heard it's a bit of a dump. You know what? I think they're working on it.
Yeah. I think that's harsh, actually. It's all right.
Yeah, they did it. I had a great coffee today at a place, some really nice people. You found a great record store that your friend actually. Yeah,
Wrecking Ball Books and Music, which is an awesome kind of quite new record shop with a venue upstairs, and it's cool.
Yeah.
It's cool here.
I think what's going on is it's getting revitalized a little bit.
There's way worse places on tour. Let's put it that
way. True.
Let's put it that way.
Yeah. We won't mention. I've got my like groaners. I'm like, oh, that place. There's only a couple. Basically, I love it here. On Freebird, how do you decide which parts of the solo to play since it's multiple simultaneous solos? You know what? You just come up with something that's close to, and James was right about. James Cole was right about this. He's like, if it's a little bit off and we're a little bit like, that's part of the sound. And it's actually true. If it's not perfect, it actually sounds better because it's not perfect on the record. And they never played it live exactly the same. I don't think so.
The other one's War Pigs. When you did that kind of dual solo thing, that worked really well as well.
Because it crosses.
Because it comes together and then splits off. And
yeah, it's a little chaotic sounding at times. And that's part of the sound.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So you just kind of get it close and that's good enough. And it's actually better if it's not perfect. Yeah. The thing about this tour is ale. Yeah, sure. True. Beats a day job. Definitely beats a day job, man. I'll tell you that for sure. Let's see. Does the SL have a master volume? Yeah, they do. They have a post-phase inverter master on the back, which I turned down a little bit. Because I actually kind of like it back a little bit because it tends to tighten up the amp a little bit and make it a little less crazy sounding. Like you can run it on 8 or even on 10 and it's not quite as mush, Not that they're mush, but it's like, it just, you don't need to hit it so hard, and all the tone is there. I assume you sleep on the bus. What kind of shampoo do you all use? I gotta buy shampoo. Actually, I'm like running out. My hair is like a little like frizzy right now. Look at how big it is. It's like I need a haircut.
I'm on a
What's
hair
going on?
wash day tomorrow as well.
You got a hair wash day tomorrow? Yeah.
It's timing is paramount for me.
Jesse's got a little sleep on the bus problem. Actually, he's like not sleeping on the bus that good.
Yeah, I don't sleep well on the bus anyway.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's kind of when we're moving.
I'm
I
good.
just tend to wake up, but this guy's straight to sleep.
Yeah.
Bit jealous of that.
I'm nails.
Yeah,
You?
I'm
Not so
super
much.
I'm super tired tonight, so I think I'll sleep tonight. I have a
Yeah.
feeling. Also,
The-
it's only an hour journey as well.
Oh, yeah, we're barely
An hour
going.
and a
So
half,
it's right. It's
so-
like 70 miles or something.
Yeah. So
I love it. It says like
still-
70 miles, an hour and a half. It's like, why does it take an hour and a half to drive 70 miles?
Yeah.
I think the bus goes slow.
Yeah.
Yeah, a long drive in the UK on tour is like 6 hours. If you're driving 6 hours, like, whoa, we got a long drive
Yeah.
tonight. It's like,
The Scotland dates, so like it'll be like 7 hours or something, or 9
It's like-
hours.
come to America where 7 hours is the norm and 12 hours is not uncommon.
Yeah.
Right? For a drive.
And then I'll never sleep.
Yeah. Well, the highways are probably a little more, and the buses, American buses are a little more, like smooth. I don't know, big Prevost, whatever on U.S. highways. It's a little more straight and narrow, like whereas the buses here are double deckers. For those that have never seen a European tour bus, it's like generally speaking, you just go up a staircase to the bunks and they're way up high. It's like the size of a London bus, right?
Yeah.
Like a
Yeah.
double decker bus.
Double decker vibes, yeah.
Yeah. What songs do you really look forward to playing each night for the Classic Rock Show? Thanks, Travis, for the super chat. Appreciate it. I have a lot of fun with YYZ. I'm having fun with the little improv solo on the end of the Dire Straits tune. What's it called?
Yeah, I love that
do?
one. Romeo and Juliet.
Romeo and Juliet.
Yeah, I love playing that one as well.
Yeah, it's really fun. Yeah, Wayne sings it. It's like a really pretty song. I really look forward to like Guilty Pleasure is actually the Journey tune.
Is it?
Yeah. It's so fun to rip that solo and
Yeah.
and I have fun with like Rudy's going into the audience and doing his Rudy
Yeah,
thing.
that's fun.
The other male lead singer in this band is Rudy Cardenas, and he's that dude's got he's got so much confidence.
Confidence and charisma and
He's a master. Like he jumps off the stage, he goes down in the crowd, and he goes all the way through. He hasn't even checked it out really. He just goes and does it.
He's just in there.
He's got the mic, and then he throws the mic and then catches it, spins around. He's catches it and keeps singing. He sounds exactly like Steve Perry, and it's like, geez, man. I'm always like, damn. He's just turns it on. And it's it doesn't look like he's phased at all.
Yeah, he's just got that kind of LA charm. I don't know.
Yeah, it's interesting.
Yeah.
You guys are a great foil for one another because it's two totally different singers.
Totally. Yeah.
Pretty cool. We should probably go soon, but I'm really having fun doing this. But oh yeah, almost forgot to mention. So I'm at 250K subscribers now on this
Woohoo!
the YouTube.
Congratulations, bro.
Which
That's
is-
a lot of people.
Yeah, and the thing about you guys is that this crew that comes and hangs out here and stuff, and folks that subscribe to the channel, it's just such a nice vibe. Social media is such a crazy animal these days, and it's it can be awful, and stuff. But the YouTube thing for me is just lovely. It's
Yeah.
you know what I mean? It's not, it's such a good vibe and great, even comments and stuff. It's pretty rare I get weird comments and all that kind of crap, that you see, it just works out. I don't know, it's nice. So I just really enjoy it, so I appreciate you guys, and thanks for being with me all the way to 250K. It took a while to get here, it's I think I started my channel in 2006. So what were you doing in 2006?
Farting under my arm and running around. Chasing girls.
Yeah.
I was 16 actually.
Yeah. And I was in
Teaching people eruption.
teaching people. Yeah, I was teaching people eruption. That's right. No, that came 2008.
Yeah.
I think I was filming stupid videos in my my little 1-bedroom apartment or whatever. And like, it was the early days of YouTube, nobody knew what it was going to be. It's like, what do we do with this? Well, this is kind of cool. Record stuff and put it up on the internet, so it's been a long, long road, but a really organic road for me. And, it's a pleasure. So, let's see here. What's this say? Fried fish with rice flour and seltzer is actually better than traditional batter. Have you heard of this?
I'll take your word for it, Joe.
Let's see. English breakfast is not the best, but there are some good meat pies in the pub. English breakfast, I can't do the stuff I don't like. The
Black pudding.
Black pudding. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm veggie, so I don't touch black pudding.
Oh, I'm right with you there. So you don't eat? Do you eat eggs too?
I eat eggs, and I actually eat fish, so I guess I'm pescatarian.
Pescatarian.
I love an eggs royale. That's my favorite kind of brunch thing.
I could be down with that. Like only eggs and fish. I could be pescatarian easily. I could totally cut out chicken. I enjoy it sometimes. It's kind of bland. Like, who needs chicken in their life? Let those birds live, damn it. That said, I had an amazing Sunday roast today. So
yeah, Sunday roast is cool.
So you two working with each other, other great musicians, do you ever think about getting together, writing your own songs and putting an album out? Well, yeah, I mean, totally, and we all do other projects and do put stuff out. So
yeah, it's just time and getting together, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's like, we're all over the world. So
yeah, it's like, here's the thing. It's like this. Making money as you get older becomes so important because you're trying to pay a mortgage, trying to put money away, trying to, pay your bills and do everything. And with original music, increasingly, and this is a problem, increasingly, it's more and more difficult to make money doing that. And this is why we're doing this show, because we're out celebrating classic rock and stuff, which was it's almost a bygone era, which is sad, but it's true because people are passing away. And it's like, this was an era, it was a moment in time where these guys like rocketed to stardom and, were able to like have these crazy, huge careers and stuff like that. But would any of that happened? Would any of that have happened if there wasn't an incentive, to keep going? To like, what if they still had to go work in a factory and then do it? Like, if that was the option, right? And that's kind of how it is for a lot of like you've probably seen some, articles in the music press and stuff these days about how difficult it is for new artists to like just make a living doing what they're doing and touring. I mean, I think about my friend Yvette Young, who's in the band Covet, and putting out original music. It's original, incredible. She's an unbelievable guitar player, songwriter, and stuff. She's had so many challenges. She goes and buys a new van, right? Econoline, not a new van. It was like a used. It was $15,000, I think. This van. Okay, got a new band van, great. And 2 days before they go on tour, van gets stolen out of a rehearsal facility in parking lot in Oakland at like 6 p.m. Van gets ripped off. It's crazy. So she starts a GoFundMe, and fans, you guys, contribute. They get a new van. They get enough money. They actually rented the van, the van for the tour. So then they rent a van and a trailer, and within like a week, that trailer gets broken into. The side of the trailer is literally how they got into it, ripping the side of the trailer open, like not even busting a lock off the back or whatever, because they parked it safely and stuff, so you couldn't get in the back door and stuff. They ripped through the side of the trailer and like stole some stuff out of the trailer. They didn't get all the gear, but like stole a few things. And it's just like, and they're making money literally like just any way they like, whatever their guarantee and like whatever merch they sell at the gigs, and they still did the whole tour, even with stolen van, trailer ripped open. They did the tour anyway. Now, whatever she's coming home with, it ain't a lot of money, and it's not, it's like, when I think about that kind of dedication and commitment, who's willing to do that? So the answer to your question, Bruce, is just so difficult these days because the infrastructure and the system isn't there like it used to be. As screwed up as the music business used to be, it was still, I'm not saying this out of like, oh, it's so hard or anything like that. I'm just stating reality of like, for kids getting into it these days, I don't know if the incentive is the same as it was for kids in the 60s and the 70s when it was actually possible to, like, you know what I mean? Like, how do you get to that place where it's possible to make a living now? And it's like we make a living and stuff, but I'm more interested at this point in making a living as a musician than I am trying to like gotta make it like break with our original music and a song. I'm really into doing stuff like this. I'm into putting out occasional songs, albums, stuff like that, and going at it in every day, because you kind of have to throw a million things at the wall these days and see what sticks. You know?
I think the creative incentive will always be there because that's where you
Yeah.
start doing music in the first place. And obviously you write stuff all the time. And
I do.
Like for me, I just finished a record and I've just put my first single out from that record. And for me, that's like my baby. That's like, you know, so I've been going around doing solo gigs, but you're right. I don't make money on them like I do.
Right.
Like if I pay for my band, my friends to come along and who are all amazing and like do a gig, I'm like breaking even if I'm lucky. Whereas obviously this is my job, you know, so it's like, it's just two very different headspaces for me. It's like, that's my creative outlet and that's what I love to do. And obviously when I sing those songs, it's a different feeling to like one I get when I
100%.
When I sing, you know, Barbara Wright or whatever. But it's the incentive financially is definitely not the same as it would have been back in the 70s. You know, it's almost impossible. Like it's a fraction of like however many percent, probably a fraction of 1% that actually think how much money it takes to make minimum wage streaming, you know, on Spotify. You know, you're talking hundreds of thousands of streams, maybe more, maybe millions, right, to earn minimum wage.
That's true.
You know, so it's like,
so that's where it's at.
So it's about the creative incentive rather than the financial one, I guess.
Yeah, so we do this in order to feed the, you know, ability to even get to the place where you can release a song and not really expect to make, you know, a living.
Yeah, and isn't that weird? Because because my album probably cost me 10 grand. You know.
Right.
You know,
and you're doing it out of love,
Yeah.
not for a return, because it's like, yeah, you're probably not going to see a return off.
Yeah.
And that's bullshit. You know, there should be a you know, an incentive for artists to, there should be something in place, you know, because otherwise, well, you see where we're going with this. So, and we're not whinging about it. We're just stating the reality, you know, I think of it. And, you know, at some point I mean, like before you guys ever watched me on YouTube and, you know, before I was ever in this world, it was like, I was probably in 4 signed bands, you know, and did multiple tours in vans all across the US and Canada and went to Europe and stuff. And, you know, in 1995, I signed my first record deal with a band in Japan, Sony Japan. And then I did another one in 99 or 2000 that was a subdivision of Atlantic. I did another one, and actually in 97, I was in a band called Sparkler that was on Revolution Records, which is a subdivision of Giant. So there's 3 signed bands. This is years before any of you guys ever heard of me, you know. And then there was 40 Foot Echo in 2002 or 3, you know, Hollywood Records band that I did. So that's 4 signed bands I did, you know, before anybody had ever heard of me or I was on a radar, you know, and you get to the point where so what that means is make a record, you know, get to the point where you get the deal, you know, which is like, can be years of like, you know, demos and like trying to get there, and then you sign some deal with a label. Okay, great. Now we're going to make a record, and then we're going to go play some gigs. We need an agent. We need a good lawyer. We need everything you need. You know, you're working like all that stuff. And then you do all that, and then maybe go do some touring, and then it doesn't go anywhere. And then like, oh, okay, on to the next one. Okay, on to the next one. How much of your life do you spend doing that before you end up going like, oh, I don't know if we can do this again. And for me, it was about 33, you know, I was like 32, 33 years old when I was like, I don't know if I have another one of these in me actually like this. Like I want to play guitar and I want to make a living and I want to, you know, write songs and make original music and stuff, but I don't know if I can do this again. Like that whole cycle, you know? And And then I started getting sideman gigs, and then YouTube happens, you know, and I start doing this and stuff, and it's like, oh, I should do a solo record and do it. Hello.
Oh, is anybody naked?
No.
Hi.
Hi.
Checking. Oh yeah, just where we're going to lock up, but I won't because you're.
Okay. Well, we'll just be 10 minutes,
No, there's no rush.
and then we'll
Time.
split.
Thank you so
Thank you.
much.
No problems.
That's our cue. Ugly lights came on.
Oh,
The lighting was so fantastic for a
Yeah, it
while.
was great.
But anyway,
Sexy lighting.
it's just my point is that like you know, it got to the point where it's like I don't know about you, but like I bet it's similar because like I wanted a music career, but that like I didn't want to get in a van necessarily for $300-400 a week and go like across the country again and like just keep slogging it. Like you get into your 30s and you're like, you want more. You want a life. You want to like, I need to make money. I need to pay my bills.
And how do you live in a big city and do that? That's what I don't get. You know, unless
You
unless you're rich parents, like how do you do that? Like
Right.
physically.
Right. It's impossible.
You know, you either live at home till you're 35 and just do gigs all the time and just put music out, you know.
Yeah.
Or someone else pays for it.
Yeah.
Or you do what we do, which is you make your money and you have a great career playing music all the time.
Yeah.
And then you have your creative thing. That's the way I look at it anyway. You know?
That's exactly how I look at it.
Yeah.
Like I still want to release music and still do, and I make, like secretly, the YouTube thing. It's like I make pedal videos and shit like that. But what I'm actually doing is writing little songs. So I'm getting like my creative yayas out like every day, like writing some little piece of music or whatever. Like, and that's how you guys know
that's
me
genius.
or
That's
And
your
it's
genius because like you're getting obviously those songs out into the world as well. And I'm sure there's songs that you go, this is great. I'll keep that and I'll put it on a record sometime or whatever. And
well, it's more like I go back and I'll listen later.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
Oh, that was cool.
That was
like
cool.
that could be, and that
Yeah.
was my last solo record. Where I just
Yeah.
mined those ideas and made songs. But it's like I found a little way to like make music, and not in a traditional way. Like, and so anyways, sorry, dude, that is the longest ass roundabout answer to, but I feel like it was a valid conversation about like these days it's all about finding your niche, and you're brilliant at it. I mean, you do your live streams and you do your, you release your own music and do things in your own way, and you also go do Led Zeppelin Symphonic and do like different things that you do, and you do this and like have a career, because for me it's the arc and the staying in the game for like not having a like burn bright and then burn out or whatever. It's like more like keep it going for as long as, because I'm 51 now, so I want to do this for another 15 years, or something,
and the rest.
Huh?
And the rest.
Yeah, probably. You get there, go, what am I going to do? Like not keep doing this, but that's it. And so you got to kind of look at it and go, well, like I have to like set, as an independent contractor, you got to set yourself up, right? You got to be in it to win it. And like, nobody's going to take care of me when I get older. So, it's like, that's just how it goes. Peter Evans, hey dude, thanks so much for the super chat, and congrats on the 250K. Next stop 500K. Yeah, maybe I'll be like ready to retire by the time we get to the 500. No, I don't know. Do you have a favorite reverb pedal, or are they always part of an echo pedal? I love my H90, man. These days, the reverb's coming out of that thing. I'm using it on this tour. So the spring in it, the black hole, like the different reverb sound, the hall in it. I use it for different stuff, and it just sounds great. So I got to recommend the Eventide reverb stuff. The M300, I think it's called, from MXR, is really brilliant, and the Flint from Strymon, brilliant. That's a great one. I'm sorry guys, there's so many great comments here, but we're not going to be able to, because they want us to go, so I'm gonna have to go. But I feel like this was really great, and I'm so glad you joined me, because it definitely would have made it so much better than it would have been with just me sitting here
sitting there burping.
sitting there burping. I mean, this is unacceptable, really, at the end of the day. Anyways, any others? I don't think I missed any other super chats and stuff. So you don't look 51. Hey, thanks. I'm working on that.
I agree.
Trying to keep it, somewhat in the youthful spectrum. I hang out with guys like this, They make me look better. It's like you age me down a little bit by right, let's see, FM radio died when Clear Channel bought all the stations. That's true. I mean, there's a whole arc to it, and I don't bemoan. Don't get me wrong here. I will just say before we go, I don't mean to always be like, somebody taught me a long time ago, like, don't do that. Don't groan about he was like, dude, there's all these people down here all groaning about them. It's so hard to make it, and so hard these days, and blah 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 blah. It's like, you don't want to be a part of any of that. You want to think like, how can I work within this?
100%.
this
It's just
ecosystem right
it's
now.
easier now than ever, right?
Yeah.
To like
It kind of is.
get out there because you can do everything yourself.
That's what I always say. Is I say, like, here's the thing. I got good news. I got bad news. Okay, the bad news is you kind of have to do everything yourself. There used to be a art department, a marketing department, and A&R, and all these different things, and you just get signed. I can just write my songs or whatever. And then there was a producer, and there was a mixer, and all those people did their job, and all you got to do is do you. Well, now you kind of got to do everything. Your own mixer, your own promotion, your own art director, your own marketing. So you got to do everything yourself. So that's the bad news. You got to do everything yourself. The good news is you can do everything yourself. You don't need any of those people. You can actually do it all yourself. So it's just, you got to be motivated enough to do it. And that's kind of my that's my mantra these days. It's sort of how with this and stuff like that. It's what I do on YouTube and stuff. It's just go at it and do it on your own and do the best you can and work within the ecosystem that exists. Don't fight it. Work within it. How can I game this to have a good career and be happy and do what I want?
And also music as a whole, like, it's not like there is no mainstream anymore, right? There's no chart really. There's nothing. So there's so many different genres and stuff. Like the Roundhouse is like famous London venue. Like you've probably played there, right?
Yeah.
Like it holds 2,000-3,000 people. No, 5,000 people.
Something like
so many bands play there now. I've never heard of, which is bizarre, but there's so many massive
there's a subculture
bands
that'll come see them.
Yeah, because they're famous on TikTok or YouTube or whatever,
Sure.
and they've made it, or they might be from South Korea and they've just made it huge online, and then they can come and play the Roundhouse. Or whereas back in the day, you'd know every band that was on pretty much.
Right.
It's like because you'd seen them on MTV and it was like a thing. And whereas now there's all these sort of, you can be big in your own right. And
that's right.
Most people don't know who you are.
That's what we're doing here, is we're not even big, but it's like your 1,000 followers, sort of mentality.
Yeah.
It's like if you can work within your thing and have a core following of folks that are interested in what you're doing, and that's it. So for you guys, it's like, just know that it's like, that's kind of what I teach in my production and songwriting clinic. When I go all over, I'm like, I'll tell people, like, here I am in Thailand, or here I am in Japan, or wherever, and there's 100 of you sitting here, and next year, like, if you go do something interesting, I'll be at your clinic, because it's like, by the way, it doesn't just have to be about music, because the great thing about this is you can reach people, if it's cooking, or if it's car repair, or if it's whatever you're really talented at. It's kind of funny, because it's like, I see people that are really, really good at things, and they've got intense knowledge about things, but they don't even realize it. They're like, oh, nobody would care about that. Like, this is just a normal thing that I know how to do, or whatever. It's like, no, dude, like people are interested in this stuff to know,
100%.
Yeah. And so if you can open up your mind to realizing that probably a lot of you guys are like really talented and have like intense knowledge that not a lot of other people have about a subject, whatever it is, underwater basket weaving, or cooking, or being a bass player, or being whatever it is, literally, like literature, or auto repair, or whatever it is that you're interested in, you can really reach a lot of people these days and have a thing, and keep it small, but keep it all. That's the key.
100%.
Yeah, don't give it to Universal Records or whatever. Yeah. All right, this is so fun. Thanks for bearing with me, because I've been drinking IPA and stuff, but that's what we do on this show sometimes, especially when we're in England.
Exactly.
In the spirit of things. Thanks, Jesse Smith.
Oh man, thanks for having me. This little impromptu chat.
It was so much fun. I don't know where we are next Sunday, so I'll take a look, but the day before or the day of, probably most likely, I'll let you know on Facebook and also on a YouTube post, just kind of what time I'm going to go live and stuff, but I'm not going to miss it. No matter what, I'll be here. So you guys are the best. Thank you so much for the super chats and for always being here and stuff. We really appreciate it. And take care. Have a great week. Everybody be nice. Be nice to each other out there. Take it easy.